'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mamma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I rose from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner, and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head, and I was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled. His dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses. His nose, like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed, like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
We've only scratched the surface of it. I mean, there's so much out there to learn. People are learning new stuff all the time about it.
So much Jef'n and Ron.
It combines both our names.
Dad, can I call you Ron?
Yeah.
Mic check.
And welcome back for another exciting episode, festive episode of So Much Jef'n and Ron. I am your host, Jeff Jones. Unfortunately, Ron could not be here with us this episode due to him having a bout of COVID pneumonia. We are still joined by Jenny McKinney.
I'm here!
And we are here with our nephew, Brandon Jones. He is currently the singer of a heavy metal family band called Crop Circle. Brandon, give us a line, or can you give us a line or two?
Oh man.
There you go. All right.
There you go, man.
I like it.
That's how he is on the spot.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Very
Nice.
reactive.
There you go. Today we will be covering the history, mysteries, and movies. History of Christmas trees and possibly Christmas lights.
Question mark.
Oh.
What is the mystery, Brandon?
The mystery is Yetis.
The
Or
Yeti.
Abominable Snowman.
Abominables. I do
Yeah.
want to. Oh, man, I like that name.
Yeah.
Although Yeti sounds more fierce, Abominable Snowman sounds.
It does.
It has like a friendlier sound to it, I feel.
Yeah, it sounds like, hey, we're out snowmobiling and we
Right.
run into the scary thing, but it was nice.
Right, even though
Yeah.
the word abominable is like the opposite of that, I still feel like, was he fuzzy?
I
You
feel like
know?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movie ruined
Right.
that. Yeah.
Right, with the bumbler, the bumble, or the bumble. Cornelius, Yukon Cornelius. Oh, silver and gold. When he throws his pickaxe, he's always nibbling on it.
And the snowman had no feet. He just kind of scooted his little snowball on
Sam.
the bottom. Yeah.
And the movie section, we will just be discussing our favorite Christmas holiday movies.
Yes.
All right,
All
let's
right.
just jump right into it. Brandon, Christmas trees, real or fake?
Real.
You like
At
real
least
ones?
Yeah, but I heard that real ones, I like seeing them. Like, I like the aesthetic of a real tree, but I heard that they're a pretty big hassle. I've never personally had one. We've always had fake trees. And
Yeah.
just coming from experience, fake trees are also kind of a hassle. Because you have to... but
Yeah.
but you
You gotta
have
make
to
it look
vacuum a
right.
lot. You have to vacuum a lot, that's for sure.
There. We grew up having a fake tree. I'm pretty sure the exact same tree until we moved out of the house, probably. I believe
Yeah.
Mom and Dad had that tree that whole time.
Yeah.
They still have a fake one today. But after I moved out, I've always gotten a real tree up until quarantine.
Oh.
Oh.
Yep. Then we ordered a fake one, and we've used the fake one for 2 years. But the real one is fun. We do go out as a family. We cut it down. You know what I mean? We don't ever just get one out of like a tree lot. There's nothing wrong with those so long as they'll last for you.
Mhm.
But we go down and we go out, cut it down ourselves, bring it in. It is a pain in the hassle.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
I just read that they're now doing like you can rent potted trees. So
I saw that.
they like dig the tree up instead of like they keep the roots of it.
Yep.
And then they pot it, and then you just take the tree, you rent it in the pot, and then when you give it back, they replant it.
Right. And then they just take it right back, and it can still
Yeah, I
continue to
love
grow.
that.
I did see that. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Is that new?
That is a new
I think
thing
that's
that
a
they
new
started
concept,
doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe just now being advertised.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That sounds really nice, though.
Much more environmental friendly. Why do we just cut down a tree for the sake of cutting a tree to use it for 2 weeks and then discard?
And then you
It's
discard it. Not to mention that like it took years and years for that tree to just get to that size to even be brought inside.
Right. Yes.
Huh.
Okay, history of trees.
Yep. Speaking of
History
Christmas
of
trees.
trees.
Speaking of Christmas trees, let's get to the history of this episode, Christmas
Okay.
trees. Now,
Okay.
did you guys look up some stuff about Christmas tree history?
No, I
Yeah.
looked up lights.
You looked up Christmas lights? The
Yeah.
Christmas tree history, I did notice that when I looked it up, there was a number of different stories about where Christmas trees actually started from.
Mm.
We're talking all the way back to like the year 300, like all the way through the 13th century, 15th century, but the main thing about it is 90% of what I read was that it stemmed from Germans.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the history that I could find and that I'm going with is actually from Wikipedia, and it's pretty much in 1510 was the first written record of a decorated Christmas tree. And that come from Riga of Latvia. Now, men of local merchants guilds, they decorated a tree with artificial roses. They danced around it in the marketplace, and then they set it on fire. And the rose was used for many years and is considered to be a symbol for the Virgin Mary. Now, other stuff that I'd read too is that the Christmas tree actually started with pagans, and it goes all the way back to the maypole, dancing around the maypole.
Okay.
And
Outside the Mayflower?
Nope, but similar time. But they would dance around a maypole,
Okay.
and it was like eventually they moved from a maypole to a tree, and the Christians wanted to, I don't want to say use the word lure pagans into their religion and listening to their religious teachings. So the Christians has adopted the tree as their symbol because it's shaped. The pine tree is shaped like a triangle for Trinity.
I did not know that.
So the Christians adopted the tree itself, undecorated, as a symbol to lure the pagans into what they were doing. But also at the time, a lot of people would decorate their houses with spruce and firs.
Yeah.
Like just limbs of it.
Yeah.
And eventually they had brought the limbs inside. And I know that there was a gentleman who, looking up at the night sky, I believe he was actually an artist. He was looking up at the night sky doing a painting, and he wanted to work on it in his house. So he had he had already had the tree in their house undecorated.
Yeah.
And he had brought it in his house, and I believe he started hanging candles on it. And then that kind of caught on to eventually, I think, lights. Well, let me hop back into my timeline here. So initially, 1510, it was the first written record of it. 1530, in Alsace, France, the trees were sold in the marketplace and brought home, and they were set up and decorated, but laws limited the size to 8 shoe lengths. Do you know how tall that is, Brandon? 8 shoe lengths.
Man, I'm assuming average feet is about what?
Foot?
With a foot?
So you think 8 feet? So, but nope, it's 4 feet. They had a lot smaller feet back then. Their feet were only 6 inches long back then.
Dang!
Yeah, 8. It's considered 8 shoe lengths, which is slightly over 4 feet. That was the law. You couldn't have a tree that was slightly over 4 feet.
Oh, that's silly.
By the 1600s, it was common.
Hey, super side note.
Yeah.
The ceilings were a lot lower back then too. You know what I mean? Like people were shorter, so their feet were probably smaller, and I feel like their ceilings were a lot shorter too.
I bet you're right. I could see that being a thing. Because even now, I mean, yeah, because a 4-foot Christmas tree in a 6-foot house is equivalent to like a 7-foot tree in a 9-foot house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by the 17th century, though, it was common in Germany to decorate the Christmas trees with apples. Practice was a holdover from the 14th and 15th centuries when evergreen boughs, what they'd hung on their house, they used to hang apples on those. And they were also props used in what was considered miracle plays. Every time I see miracle plays in writing also, it's always quoted in quotes. Miracle plays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Miracle plays were performed at churches on December 24th. December 24th was Adam and Eve's Day in the early Christian calendar.
Oh, okay.
On December 24th. And they would, the point of the miracle plays was to teach the Bible to a largely illiterate population. They would lure them in with plays, and then that's how they would teach them stories out of the Bible. But fast forward 1700s, in parts of Austria and Germany, evergreen tips were brought into the home and hung top down from the ceiling. Now, that's when they started bringing them in Austria and Germany, and they would hang the trees upside down in their houses. They'd hang them on the ceiling, hanging down.
Oh,
I thought
it's a very large mistletoe.
Yeah. They were often decorated with apples, and they were gilded nuts and red paper strips. And then also at this time, I thought this was cool, edible ornaments became so popular on Christmas trees that they were often called sugar trees. And they would put edible ornaments on there for the kids.
Oh,
that was kind of, that was kind of like little presents and treats for the kids when they'd go over to people's houses. Kind of like candy canes, I'd imagine now, right?
Is that what started that, I'm assuming?
I'm assuming it did, because they used to call them sugar trees. The first accounts of using lighted candles as decorations on Christmas trees came from France in the 18th century. By the 1800s, the Christmas tree is introduced in the U.S. by German settlers. It rapidly grows from tabletop size to floor-to-ceiling size. That was right when the German settlers started showing up. 1851, Christmas trees begin to be sold commercially in the U.S., and they are taken at random from the forest. 1853, Franklin Pierce brings the first Christmas tree to the White House. Late 1800s, the first glass ornaments were introduced into the U.S., again from Germany settlers. The first ones were mostly balls, but later chains of balls, toys, and figures became very common. Yep, this is kind of funny. 1883, Sears Roebuck and Company began offering the first artificial trees. You could get a 33-limb tree for 50 cents or a 55-limb tree for $1.
Whoa.
That's in 1883. I was surprised Sears Roebuck was around then, and they're selling Christmas trees. I'm pretty sure that's where Mom and Dad got theirs at.
There's probably an original first edition.
Yep. Fast forward to the 1900s, due to the overharvesting, the natural supply of evergreens begins to be decimated. Conservationists become alarmed, and many magazines begin to encourage people to substitute an artificial snow-covered tree, consisting of a branch of deciduous tree wrapped in cotton. That's what they were using for fake snow on the trees.
Oh.
1901, the first Christmas tree farm is started. Fast forward, 1930, President Franklin D. Roosevelt starts a Christmas tree farm on his estate in Hyde Park, New York. 1931, the first tree at Rockefeller Center. I thought this was funny. 1931, the first tree at Rockefeller Center is a small, unadorned tree which is placed by construction workers at the center of the construction site. That's how Rockefeller Center started.
That's
2
crazy.
years later, another tree is placed there. This time it has lights on it.
Yeah.
1948, the tallest tree displayed in the country was Rockefeller Center. At Rockefeller Center is a Norway spruce that measured over 100 feet tall.
Dang. It's so crazy they still do that.
I
Every
know.
single year. Then for what? You know what I mean? Like, just to have it lit up there?
Yeah, just to have it there. But yeah, that's the gist of it all the way through today. But a lot of what I read, though, it started pretty much with people decorating outside and then wanting to bring those decorations indoors.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add about the Christmas lights or anything like that?
Yeah, so what I found is, just like you said, they started with small candles in the house on the trees, and then it started to burn houses down. So they wanted to find a different option. And so,
Oh, man.
During 1880 Christmas season, Thomas Edison introduced the first outdoor electric Christmas light display to the world. He displayed the lights outside the laboratory compound, which sat near a railway, so many people could see it, like as they went by.
What year was that?
1880.
Nice.
Yeah. And then Edward Johnson, who was an inventor under the supervision of Thomas Edison, created the first string of lights a couple of years later. So even though Thomas Edison put them out, he's the one that kind of invented it. The string of lights were made out of 80 small electric light bulbs. And then in 1890, the string of lights were mass-produced in department stores. And so then they started selling them.
Did they just start at Christmas time?
Public displays of Christmas lights in retail stores and government buildings became more popular as the 20th century came in and gave way to outdoor displays on homes. As the trend took off, it became apparent that lighting up the Christmas tree and the house definitely took effort and money. For many people, the Christmas light display option was to light up the tree with candles because they could not afford to buy lights. The trees would be displayed only for a couple of days before Christmas, and the candles were only lit for a few minutes at night, which is a far cry from how everybody wants to leave their lights on, right?
Right.
So people were aware of the fire dangers and kept buckets of water and sand nearby just in case if the tree caught on fire. The lit tree was often placed in front of a window for people outside the house to see. So in 1895, the first White House electrically lit Christmas tree was sponsored by President Grover Cleveland, which brought national attention to it. So it was upward of $300 per season to have it lit up. And only wealthy people could afford the cost back then.
It's funny that
So-
even back then, Christmas trees were a fire hazard.
Yeah, I know.
And that their answer to it being a fire hazard were lights that eventually just become a fire hazard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
silly.
No,
Yeah.
I just was wondering about the Christmas lights because it seems like if they were able to string lights together, it's weird that they would just do it for Christmas. It seems like at that time when electricity was sparse, and if you had it and you had enough electricity to string lights together for Christmas lights, you'd probably keep those lights up year round, I would think.
It sounds
Like-
like it was just too much, too expensive.
Yeah, too expensive, too much.
Yeah.
I hear you. All right, you got anything else you want to add about Christmas trees, Christmas lights, Brandon? Anything? Any questions?
I mean, you guys covered pretty much everything I had wrote down. I just wrote down, I looked up what I thought a Christmas tree would come from. A lot of the things said that they just came from Germany many years ago, and it started with the candles on the tree. But one thing I did see was that they actually would put them by the windows back then to let Christ into their home. But not only that, to display it in the window, as Jenny said. But I thought it was interesting because even back then, they would put the candle trees, like the ones with the candles on them, in front of the window. But even like you guys said, it would just cause a huge fire hazard.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it wouldn't do anything. And I was trying to look more into it to see how common it was. But I did see a few cases of some people using metal trees. Have you guys heard about that?
Yep, the aluminum trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They used to be, I think they had those when Papa was growing up.
Yeah.
I think they had an aluminum tree and it was a metal tree. And they actually, did the tree itself rotate? I think the
Yeah, and
tree
it had
rotated.
a colored disc.
Yeah, it had a light underneath it with a color disc where it would, like, the disc would spin like a record and it would be like green, red, blue. And it would just keep going around and the light would reflect onto the metal tree to make it look like the tree's lighting up.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
That is very weird.
I do think, and again, coming back to the real or fake trees, I will say the good thing about a real tree is that you can hang tinsel on it and stuff like that because you're just going to get rid of it anyways. Where our fake tree, we don't want to put tinsel on because then we got to get all the tinsel off if we don't want it next year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or before I put it away. I'm not putting it away with all the tinsel on it. That is one thing I noticed is growing up or is getting a real tree is that we're quick to just tinsel it up, you know, but because the tree gets taken out back anyways.
Yeah. I did see last year people were saran wrapping their fake trees with the bulbs and everything on it and then just store it in the closet and then they just pull it out and unsaran wrap it so that it's already put together. They just got to
Pretty
fluff
good
it.
idea. I wonder if I could do that with ours. It seems like I could do that with the style that our artificial is.
Yeah.
All right, nice. All right, anybody got anything else Christmas tree related?
No.
No.
All right, then we will move on to our next topic: the abominable snowman, the Yeti.
Yeti.
So, do you have a specific thing that you found? I found that the pagans were the ones to basically start the stories
Of the
this
Yetis?
man. Yes, yeah, that's what I found. But I don't know how much truth that is because they said that the abominable snowman was to keep people from wandering off of villages and like leaving their villages and stuff. But there started to be some sort of truth to it because I guess there was people going missing and they would show like basically end up being dismembered and found some miles away from the camp or whatever, and they would find footprints in the snow, and they believed that it could have been like really big bears that lived on the mountain or a really big ape-like human, which I don't know how they got like one or the other, but you would think a bear paw would look a little different than a big ape man.
You would think.
Yeah.
But that's what I found on them.
Yeah, everything I found about him says that he pretty much hails in the Himalayan mountains over in the mountain ranges of Asia. Now, there is the thing with the Yeti is that there's writings beyond, like way back before our calendar of the Chinese dynasties that talk about the Yeti back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
pictures and
ape-like creature that's a man covered in hair but is twice the size of an average man. You know what I mean? And it's just it's one of those things like most cryptids that when there's writings that mention it thousands of years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it gives it any validity, but like it's just odd that it's one of those things kind of like aliens. Like there's writings thousands of years ago before we could even leave the ground and fly anywhere. There's writings of beings that came from the sky.
Yeah.
The Yeti is kind of like that. There's monk writings from thousands of years ago that mention the protectors of the mountain, the protectors of the mountain, the protectors of the forest. And that was what they had described as the Yeti, which was like a 7 foot tall, hairy gray and red creature, blob. They have writings and descriptions of them thousands of years ago. So, but the Yeti, once known as the abominable snowman, is a mysterious bipedal creature said to live in the mountains of Asia and the Himalayan mountains. It sometimes leaves tracks in the snow, but it is said to dwell below the Himalayan snow line. Despite dozens of expeditions into the remote mountain regions of Russia, China, and Nepal, the existence of the Yeti has not exactly been proven. Now, the Yeti is said to be muscular, covered with dark grayish or reddish hair, and weighs about 200 to 400 pounds. It's relatively short compared to North America's Bigfoot, averaging 6 to 7 feet. Now, I think Bigfoot are more 8 to 9. And I was also looking up things that, how similar is the Yeti compared to Bigfoot? And they kind of say it's like a polar bear to a grizzly bear.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Same
it's
family, different region.
Right. You could say they're cousins, pretty much. They would be cousins in the primate chain.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I did see that there was a reporter that in like 1950s, like late 1950s, he went on a hunt for the Yeti, and then he ended his journey about 50 years in the making because he just gave up. He couldn't do it no more. I'll have to find the guy's name, but I believe his name was Edward, and he was just a photographer that happened to take one of the first photos of a footprint. It wasn't so much the actual man itself, but a footprint of it. And it was a black and white photo with like barely any details. And I was just reading into that a little bit, and I thought it was kind of fascinating that the guy spent his whole life looking for it, all because he seen one footprint in the snow. And he didn't even have a family or nothing. Like, he gave up on all of that just to look for it. And he never found it, which is crazy to me.
That is crazy. I believe he started too because there was an incident in 1959. It happened over in Russia at the Dyatlov Pass, or they also call it Dante's Pass. You guys familiar with that incident at all?
Yeah, I watched a documentary.
Oh, did you?
I did not see
read
that.
a lot about that. There was a group of 9 hikers, and these were all experienced hikers that just wanted to go up what I believe was called Dead Man's Mountain, or Dead Mountain. Sorry, it was called Dead. It was called Dead Mountain. They got pretty close to the top, almost near the top of the mountain range, decided to set up shop. 9 hikers. They basically went missing. Nobody had heard from them for weeks, and so another party went out after them because they were college students. 8 of them were actual college students that were in college, and they were all experienced hikers. One of them was an older gentleman. I think he was about 37. He was the only one of them that was not a college student. Either way, they didn't come back for a few days or weeks. Eventually, a search party goes after them. And what they had found was that all 9 of them were dead. They had fled their camp in the middle of the night, and a couple of them cut their way out of their tents. They were in their tents, and they used knives and cut themselves out of their tents, and they all fled in different directions from the camp. Nobody knows what exactly happened to cause that to happen in the middle of the night, but obviously they were sleeping and they were all very ill prepared. Out of the 9, they found 2 makeshift small camps about 75 to 200 yards away from their camp. And out of the 9, 5 of them, I believe, had cuts, broken ribs, broken body parts. They were mangled. They were just mangled. Something got a hold of them. Yeah. The other ones all died of hypothermia. They could tell.
Yeah, because I think when they ran out, from what I remember, when they ran out, they were just like in their pajamas, in their sleeping bag, and then they just ran because of whatever happened. And then some of them they found that I thought the one girl, she barely had any clothes on.
Not many of them did.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of different investigations into what happened to these hikers, and they chalk it up to an avalanche, which is impossible because the people, even days after when they came looking for them, they found them under very thin snow. And if you look around, there was you would tell if an avalanche came through there. Now, then some people say that there is a wind that comes through that set of the mountains that gives a howl and a screech, and that maybe they heard noises, but like all of them at once. And I believe they're experienced hikers. They would have been familiar with that type of, you know what I mean?
That terrain.
Like you think they would know that noise.
Yeah, even if it's some kind of weird phenomenon, they would be aware of it, I would think, studying that mountain range. It was,
I think they saw a group of whatever mountain people that lived up there. There was like a village, and they were warning the hikers of the Yeti.
Yes.
Like you guys shouldn't even be out here because of the Yeti. Like, we all stick together and we know when it's coming around. And then they warned them, and they were like, well, that's why we're here. We're trying to see it. And then you almost wonder too if it was a cover-up by the government. You know what I mean? So that the records didn't come out. When it stinks, because once that information comes out and then their family finds out, I mean, that'd be a terrible thing to find out about your family.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that, like, how the government was talking about, they confirmed that UFOs have been sighted and stuff? Do you think that if they were to ever get asked about a Yeti or something, do you think something like that would ever get brought out if it is real?
I think out of anything, I don't know if the government would have records of any kind of Bigfoot or Yeti encounter that wasn't already made public at the time.
So you think they would just confirm the ones that we've seen?
I think
more
so. I think so. Like in this case here at the Dante's Pass, they won't say that a Yeti attacked those people. Mm-hmm. There was a group, of a bushman, a wild man they called them.
I think I heard about
that. They
this.
think that they say, looks like he could have attacked the camp, slaying and destroying, decimating a few of the people, and the other ones just ran in fear. But again, that was never proven. And they did find larger footprints at the camp. Some of the weird stuff about that is that there's some of the bodies they found they followed the footprints of people leaving the camp, and the footprints of like two people together walking weren't running. They were all just walking from the tent straight out into the woods or the mountains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Oh.
The thing, when you look up like Yeti encounters and stuff, they've been written about and encountered since the dawn of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And again, I don't know if it's like a Bigfoot or if it's one of those things where everybody's describing the same thing, but it's different things.
Well, I feel like, too, we all see things like colors. We all see colors and things differently. You know what I mean? Like, what if it was somebody that was colorblind that couldn't identify that it was actually orange, or, because I saw one report that was, he was saying it was like a large orangutan out in the woods.
Yeah, they say they're orangish red in color and gray.
Mm-hmm.
They're not usually white. They became white, I think, when they started putting them in like movies and making images of them, which I think in the 50s was the first time a Yeti was actually drawn, and they drew them white.
Right.
Yeah. But they're usually grayish red. Do you guys know where the word abominable snowman came from? I was impressed with this. 1921, a journalist named Henry Newman interviewed a group of British explorers who had just returned from a Mount Everest expedition. He was just interviewing them because they came back from Mount Everest.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like writing a hiking article, okay?
Yeah.
The explorers were hysterical and told the journalists they had discovered some very large footprints on the mountain, to which their guides had attributed to the Mitokongmi. Mitokongmi. It means man-bear, snowman. That's what Mitokongmi. Newman got the snowman part right, but he mistranslated Mito as filthy. He referred to it as abominable snowman in his article, and that's where the name abominable snowman came from. Yeah, man-bear snowman. He misinterpreted it into filthy snowman.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So then he eventually called it the abominable snowman in his article because he thought that sounded more treacherous. Kind of like back to what Brandon was saying, a lot of the locals in the Himalayan region and stuff, the Yeti lore grew because they would use the Yeti as a reason to keep people on the more well-traveled paths and not to wander the mountains and wander the forest.
Yeah.
Not so much they would scare them by saying it's the Yeti, but in reality, there's a lot of creatures out there that would be more than happy to eat you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, the wolves and stuff on there. Huh?
Yep. Do you guys have anything else you want to add about the Yeti? Brandon, do you think the Yeti exists? Do you think it's real?
Oh, I don't know, because the thing is, I want to say yeah, but only because I definitely believe in Bigfoot. But the thing is, it could have just been a Bigfoot, like an encounter, like you guys said, where someone could have just been colorblind or something, and they could have just misinterpreted that it was a Bigfoot in the mountains. Because I could imagine they could keep themselves warm with that fur and then go up there.
Oh yeah,
and be fine.
Yep, and they did say they travel below the snow line. They do.
Yeah, so they make caves and stuff.
Right.
If that's true. Yeah.
I will say this about the Yeti. I've always thought of it as like a brother or cousin to the Bigfoot, who I would love to find some kind of proof that does exist. Kind of like the Bigfoot. Even like Native Americans years and years ago, the Indians had writings thousands of years ago about trading with the creatures of the forest, and they basically describe a Bigfoot. And kind of like the Yeti, the writings go back so far. I never really thought about a Yeti or even like believed in it. My reasoning was because a mountaintop or a mountain range is so small that like you think it would be easier to track down, but like look at Bigfoot in the woods. And again, if it's a parallel jumping thing, like a parallel dimension thing, which I think the thing is with the Yeti is it's had a lot. If you could look up a timeline of encounters with the Yeti, there are a lot of aggressive encounters with the Yeti. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where a lot of the encounters people have with the Bigfoot, even the interactions, both parties are startled. The human and Bigfoot are both surprised and startled.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot is usually trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
And if he throws sticks and rocks, it's usually out of defense so that he can get out of it. You know what I mean? Where the Yeti seems more on the offensive. It's coming after you.
But maybe the Yeti was here first.
It almost plays into the polar bear and brown bear thing, because I don't know if you guys know this, but they say polar bears are highly aggressive because they're not around people like us at all.
That makes sense.
And I was watching this thing on them, and they were just saying that like you always hear of polar bears eating humans or something like that because they get too close to their cave or their little ones or whatever. But they said they'll kill anything that comes by, their family. And some brown bears, like you said, they're like scared, kind of like Bigfoots, like normal Bigfoots. They're like, you can scare them off with something. You can probably distract them with something. But it sounds like when it comes to these mountainous ones, they're highly agitated.
And I do think that prior to looking stuff up for this episode, like I said, I was on the fence with the Yeti, whether it was real or not. But when you start reading the encounters and the writings about the Yeti and just the descriptions and I believe in it more now than I did going into it. I will say that. I've always kind of want to believe in the Bigfoot. The Yeti, I was on the fence, but I believe that just in these people's descriptions of their encounters, not just the big footprints that everybody sees and the patches of hair that they find and things like that, but the fact that like there's just like aliens, there's too many encounters to just write it off as a wild man that lives on the mountains.
Right. I think too, even if you just look at the pictures, even the pictures or like the drawings or like let's say somebody did have an encounter, the sketch from their encounter, they look aggressive and scary compared to like, Bigfoot, most of the time it's like a side profile or, you're seeing it run off or
and like I said, he's usually scared or startled.
Yeah, but the Yeti ones are scary. When I started looking up some of the pictures, just the sketches, I was like, man, that is scary.
Yeah. Jeff, you might know what I'm talking about, but the scene in Star Wars where Luke has to hide from the thing.
The Wampa?
Every time I think of an abominable snowman, I just think of that because I would think that's what it does.
That thing, in Star Wars was probably 11 feet tall, and he just grabbed Luke by the leg and lifted him up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's always the impression I've kind of gotten with the Abominable Snowman or the Yeti. But they're saying that they're only like 6 to 7 feet tall. I was really surprised by that. You know what I mean? That
maybe that's why they're aggressive. Short people are aggressive.
They are. They are. It's one of the few primates that spent, like according to them, spends most of its time biped on its back feet, just walking. Some encounters describe it going on all fours and going very fast through the woods on all fours.
I just would have a medical episode if I saw that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one of those things. I think if you were out there, though, your brain wouldn't even register.
No.
And again, if you put yourself in those hikers' positions, if they're in the middle of the night sleeping, and something happens, it's just. If you ever get bored, just look up the Dyatlov Pass, which is DHALTOV Pass incident, or Dante's Pass incident.
Yeah,
takes place on Dead Mountain. That's the one that really stuck with me because I listened to a number of documentaries about that one.
Yeah,
I watched and read and listened but
is that older? Like pretty way older?
It happened in 1959.
No, there's a Netflix. There's a Netflix documentary on it.
Oh, really? All right, I'm gonna have to try to look that up and watch that because that sounds really good. Like a story wise.
If anything, it'll motivate you to write a crop circle song about it.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, maybe write one about a Yeti. Yeti versus Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know what your course could be? Man, bear, snowman.
Man, bear, snowman.
Dead mountain. I'm joking. That's not the kind of music we make.
I know.
You guys got anything else you want to add about the Yeti?
No, I do not have anything. How about you, Jen?
No. Good.
All right. Stick around. We're going to play a Christmas trivia game, Jenny versus Brandon.
Yes.
All right.
And before we get to our Christmas movie portion of the episode, Jen, I'd like to pit you against Brandon with some family Christmas trivia. Jen, do you have the name of 2 listeners that you guys could be playing for?
Yes. Brandon's going to be playing for Bob from Missouri.
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing for Joey in Tennessee.
All right, Brandon, you will be playing for Bob. Jen, you'll be playing for Joey. Yeah. Whoever wins will get a Fog Dog t-shirt.
Fog Dog.
All right.
Yep. I got about 18 questions.
Okay.
We're going to go back and forth. Brandon, we'll start with you since you're the guest. You will get 1 point for each correct answer. If there is more than one correct answer, you will get 1 point for each correct answer.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, Brandon, starting with you. What is Scrooge's first name?
Ebenezer.
Oh. It is.
Dang, nice. Good job.
Nice. All right, Jenny.
Yes.
Complete the lyrics.
Oh.
On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me
5 golden rings.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
Ooh.
I was trying to count 5 there. All right. 1-1. Brandon, back to you. In which city does Miracle on 34th Street take place?
New York?
It is New York.
Yeah.
Nice.
Why
all right.
You suck?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't sure of that, and I've seen the movie, and still some reason I was like, Chicago?
That's funny.
Could be. I could see that being in Chicago.
Yeah.
All right, Jen.
Yeah.
How many different types of gifts did the wise men bring according to the Bible?
According to the Bible, how many gifts?
How many gifts?
3.
They brought 3. Which one are you going with, Jen? They brought 3. You already got it. What's wrong with you?
3 because they only had 1 each per wise man.
All right, start this question here, starting with Brandon.
Okay.
And then going to Jen. You guys are going to go back and forth on answers. You get 1 point for each correct answer.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Starting with Brandon, can you name Santa's reindeer?
Donner.
Dasher.
Vixen.
Did you say Dixon?
No. I said Vixen, but I meant to say Dixon.
No, it's Vixen.
It is Vixen?
Yeah.
I don't know my Christmas reindeer.
Your phone. It sounded like the phone was getting broken up. We're gonna give you credit for Vixen. Jen.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, Blitzen.
Blitzen is a reindeer. Brandon.
Cupid?
There is Cupid.
Yep.
Rudolph.
Rudolph is one of them. Brandon.
Prancer.
There is Prancer. Jen. There's two more, I believe.
Okay. Hang on. Do I get a time? Oh, Dasher. He said Donner and Dasher at the same time.
He did. You're right. I'll give you Dasher. He did say that. We stopped him. I thought.
Okay.
All right, Brandon.
Bonnet? I feel like it starts with a B. Bonnet?
Comet.
I don't. Comet.
Comet, Brandon.
Dang.
Ah, you were so close.
Dang.
So close.
Dang.
Dang,
I
that
knew
was
it
good.
was.
Oh, yeah. It's funny you got to sing the song in your head.
I know.
I was
All
trying.
right. After that question, you guys are both tied at 6.
Okay.
All right. Jen, or who do we leave off on there?
Brandon just got it wrong.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Jen. How many points does a snowflake have?
They're all different. Oh, there's an actual number?
There is a number, and I looked it up.
Oh. I'll say
number.
10? 8?
6.
8,
6, Jen.
Sucks.
Jen, I'm going to say I can't give you credit for that. All right. Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Who stole Christmas?
The Grinch.
It is the Grinch. Jen.
Okay.
What color are the berries on mistletoe?
Red.
No, they're white.
Frick.
Can't give you credit for that. Brandon.
Do they have mold? Algae. What's wrong?
They're just
Nobody
white.
spray painted them? What
Bono.
happened?
Brandon.
Yeah.
In what town was Jesus born?
Don't know. I don't know.
Jen, for the steal, what town was baby Jesus born?
Bethlehem.
It is Bethlehem.
Eat the ham.
Oh. All right. Brandon.
Okay.
Santa Claus is also known as Saint
Nicholas.
It is Nicholas. I was hoping you'd give me the whole thing.
There we go.
All right, Jen. What fruit do you need to make Christingle? One word, Christingle. What fruit do you need to make Christingle?
I'm going to say berries.
It's oranges, Jen. I've never heard of Christingle.
That's a very large berry.
You're a very large. All right, back to Brandon. What is traditionally hidden in Christmas pudding?
Ooh.
Middle finger.
What are you looking for in the pudding when you're eating it? What's usually hidden in there?
Ginger?
Close. A coin. There's a coin in the Christmas pudding.
Stupid.
A
figgy? A figgy pudding?
I didn't
All right,
know what.
2 more each.
Okay.
Jen, what does the word Advent mean in Advent calendar? What is Advent calendar?
12 days.
No, you
Small surprise.
Nope.
Slow
means
gift.
Coming.
Slow release.
It means Advent means coming. It's like a coming calendar.
Yes, slow release. That's what I said. It's eventually.
Right.
As it is. I get a half point.
I'm not giving a half point. All right, Brandon.
You're
In Elf,
very turd.
how does Buddy answer the phone?
Oh man. I don't know. I know it, but I don't know. I forgot.
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? You know what I was hoping it would have asked is how did Buddy get from the North Pole to New York?
Oh. Hi, buddy.
Remember that trip
Yeah.
where he shows up and
Yep.
yep. All right. Jen,
Yeah.
when are the 12 days of Christmas traditionally celebrated? This one has multiple choice. 12 days. When are they traditionally celebrated?
Mhm.
A, December 14th to the 25th.
No.
B, December 13th to the 24th. C, December 25th to January 5th. Or D, December 20th to the 31st. When are the 12 days of Christmas traditionally celebrated?
I don't think this is right, but I'm gonna go 20th to the 31st. I really
Jen,
think it's what
That is not right.
was it the second one?
It was the third one, Jen. December 25th to January 5th.
Oh, really? Not even on my radar.
I cannot give you credit there.
Yeah, because it's wrong.
All right,
I'm
Brandon.
still a winner.
Multiple choice for you. In what
Right.
year was the Christmas card invented?
Mm.
1843, 1852, or 1901?
I'm gonna go with B. I'm gonna go with 1850. What is it? 1851.
1852 is B. Is that what you're going with?
Yeah.
And you're wrong. 1843. It's A.
Ah.
Sorry. So sorry. Jen, last one for you. Name the Christmas-themed ballet that premiered in Russia in 1892.
The Nutcracker.
Jen, it is the Nutcracker. That brings us to 8-8.
Oh!
Yep. Lucky for you, I have a tiebreaker question.
All
Okay.
right.
There's no multiple choice. I'm going to ask each of you this, and whoever's the closest. What date is Epiphany? What date is Epiphany? Whoever can give me the date that's closest to it. It's a day and a month. It's not a year. It's just a day and a month.
I'll say 8-8.
8-8. Brandon, what are you saying?
I'm going with 10-12.
The correct answer is January 6th,
Oh.
the day after the 12 days of Christmas.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know. I was thinking of infinity signs.
Oh.
No,
That's where I was
I was lost on that.
All right, well, Brandon can have it. He can have it.
Brandon won.
I'll give it to him.
Bob.
Yeah.
Brandon won for Bob.
Bob.
All right. Congratulations, Brandon and Bob in Missouri.
Yeah.
Nice. You guys want
Yeah.
to move on to our movie portion of the episode, Christmas Classic Movies.
Yeah.
Yep. I asked
Yes.
each of you guys to write down your top 5 or so, 5 or more. I said Christmas movies. I said more because my list could have went on for a long time.
Yeah.
So, did you guys make your list of top Christmas movies?
There.
Yes.
All right, Brandon, you're a guest. Let's start with your list.
Okay.
You want to start with how many you have on your list?
I have 6.
Okay, so you want to start with number 6, and we'll work your way down to your number 1.
All right. Number 6 is Silent Night.
Oh,
So it is a horror movie about
Scary.
a Santa that believes he's doing good, but he is not.
is that the one that takes? Is that a mall Santa that ends up going like berserk?
Yeah.
Is
He-
he's hallucinating, or
He's
drunk or on drugs?
yeah.
or
He's
something?
basically he thinks he's. I think he's high off crystal meth. I could be wrong on this. And he basically thinks that he's in Santa's workshop and he thinks he's really Santa. It was a movie that really stuck with me because I watched it around Christmas and I was totally just expecting like this high action Santa Claus movie and I ended up watching a horror movie. So that's the 6th one.
All right, what you got for number 5?
All right, number 5 would be a very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas.
Nice. I love Harold and Kumar. I don't think I've seen that Christmas special though.
I had the fortunate ability to go and watch that with Papa in theaters, so I got to go and watch. I got to go watch that with Papa, and
Oh,
he thought it was hilarious.
That's
I don't know.
funny.
I
was he very
yeah,
excited?
I don't know what it is, but he really likes stupid movies like that. Like
he does. He laughs at a lot of stoner comedy movies.
He thinks it's really funny. Yeah, like Cheech and Chong and stuff. Yeah.
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 But he actually, I think he was the one that actually asked me to go see that because he said it would be funny. It was a really good movie overall.
Nice.
Yeah.
Harold and Kumar. What was it? Harold and Kumar's
3D Christmas.
All right. Nice. All right. What you got for number 4?
All right. This one would be Home Alone 2. And mostly because this one, I liked Home Alone 2 more than 1, only because I like the whole aesthetic of New York having Christmas.
I was going to say, isn't that when he's lost in New York?
Yeah, I really always liked the idea of New York Christmas. I just think it's really cool seeing all the snow on the buildings and stuff. I really like that. The whole background. All that. That was a really good movie for me.
I do like the Home Alone movies. Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2. You know what's funny is this past weekend, Andrea got us tickets to go see a Christmas concert. Like an orchestra playing Christmas classics. And what's funny is they came out for the encore and they did 3 songs that John Williams wrote for the first Home Alone.
That's funny. I did have Home Alone on my list.
What number is it on your list, Jen?
3.
Oh, yeah. All right,
nice.
Brandon, what you got after that?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, what number is that? 3 on your list?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas is a great Halloween and Christmas movie. Nice.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Tim Burton, heck yeah.
Of course.
What else you got?
The second one would be The Grinch. That's probably my second all-time favorite Christmas.
Jim Carrey or the animated one?
The Jim Carrey one.
Okay.
I grew up on that one more, for sure.
Yeah, Jen and I mostly grew up on the animated one, obviously. But I will say when they made the Jim Carrey one, I thought it was great. I like it.
Yeah.
I like that they go way into the backstory of the Grinch as a kid and his history with, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the mayor,
right.
his history with the mayor and the mayor's wife and all of that.
Yeah.
All right, what you got for your number 1 movie, Brandon?
All right, number 1. Here we go. All right, this one is Jingle All the Way.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Because I grew up with, Ron, or Papa, as I call him, watching him just in all these action movies. And I just remember that was my first non-action movie with him in it. And I just thought it was the goofiest thing seeing this really big, overbuilt guy.
He's usually in Conan and Predator. And Commando and just Terminator. And then, you see him in Jingle. You know what it was for me? Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
When he was in Kindergarten Cop, when I was still, I don't know, about a kid, but I was probably 12 or so when they came out. And I remember being like, what? And then when he was in Twins with Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
But Jingle All the Way is a good movie. Is that the one where he's trying to get the specific toy, right?
The action figure for his son, and then he has a rivalry with the mailman or whatever.
Nice. That's your number 1. Good list.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Jen, what you got for your list?
I have 4.
Okay.
Number 4, Step Brothers. Because that's always a given.
Does that even take place at Christmas?
Oh. That's why I was like, does it have to do with Christmas or we just watch it? It doesn't matter. We talked about that. That's one of those movies that no matter when it's on, we're watching it.
That's funny you say that. That is one of those movies. If I walk into a room and that is on, no
that's
matter
exactly
what part
where we
it's
pick
at,
up
I don't care if it's at the beginning or the end.
Oh my God.
All right.
So 3 was Home Alone.
The first one or the second?
Really any of them. I thought all of them were really good.
I like all of them.
Yeah.
Did you watch 3, 4, and 5?
No, just the ones with Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
I made it past the second one and watched the third one, and I liked that one, but it wasn't Kevin by that point.
Yeah.
And then I tried to watch the 4th and the 5th one, and I was like, all right, we're too far.
It's I'm out.
Yep.
So number 2, I have Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Oh, classic.
Right
Classic.
in the feels.
I have that on my list as well.
Do you? That's
Yes.
so funny. So as a family, if you have not seen that, it's a great family flick. It's marionette.
Yeah, they're like
Puppets.
marionette Jim Henson Muppets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a good story.
Kermit the Frog does a cameo in it. He narrates it real quick in the beginning.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it is all Jim Henson Muppets. But it is. We saw that when we were little. I want to say it came out in 67 or 76.
Oh my God, really?
One of them.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it on the podcast before. And even
Yeah.
as kids, when we watched that, the way that they move, where their feet, like the way they walk on the screen, their legs, because they're marionettes, they don't really touch the ground and go with the pace.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, though.
Yep.
It's such a good story, though. The storyline and
good.
the songs, so good.
I think so. We have the DVD, and there's like outtakes at the end of it, and it is amazing.
They're hilarious.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Nice.
And then my number one is Elf.
Elf?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I love Elf. That's one of those movies, again, around Christmas, kind of like A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Anytime it's on, I get sucked into it. I gotta
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's funny too. So there's one part I have to close my eyes every single time, because I cannot stomach it, and it's when he's chewing the gum. I cannot handle that.
Oh, in New York when he's pulling
Yeah.
it off the pole and eating it?
Yeah, chewed
Yeah.
gum grosses me out. Anyway, chewed gum and wet paper makes me gag. Like, I cannot.
Oh, yeah.
And, that's disgusting to me. And every time I'm always like, oh, no. But yeah,
Nice.
that's my list.
All right, I'll do mine. I wrote down my top 10 because I had so many.
Yeah.
So many. And some of mine I have two in that spot because I couldn't decide and I wasn't moving anything. I don't know what happened there. But for number 10, I do have Frosty, Rudolph, and Charlie Brown's Christmas.
Oh.
The three of those. The classic ones that we watched growing up that we would see. Maybe you'd have to catch it at the right time and channel. But we'd watch them every year.
We call it a special. Like,
Yep, we
there's a
just call them
special on
holiday
tonight.
special on. Oh, which one is it? It's Rudolph. Yes. So Rudolph, Frosty, and Charlie Brown Christmas I got for my number 10. Number 9, Bad Santa. Billy Bob Thornton, Bad Santa, where he's the mall Santa.
Yeah.
Just an asshole. Yeah. It's just so good, though. He's just always drinking and smoking. And just, oh, my gosh. Number 8, Nightmare Before Christmas. Yep, that's great. Number 7, White Christmas, Bing Crosby.
Oh, okay. Like
Burl Ives.
traditional?
It's a tradition. It's a movie from the 50s. It's really good, though. So many good song numbers in it, dance numbers in it. Just an all-around good movie. Obviously, it culminates with the song, Burl Ives' song, White Christmas.
Yeah.
Really good. Number 6, now this came out around the same time Frosty and Rudolph did, and it's done in the same kind of stop motion. It's called Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but it was like Play-Doh.
Yeah, it's like stop. Yeah, it's Play-Doh, clay stop motion. Same thing Rudolph was and Frosty. Like you know what I mean? Back in the same era. It tells the story of Santa Claus, how he became Kris Kringle. You know what I mean? Things like that. Why he brings toys and puts them in the stockings because there was Meister Burger, the mayor who was like outlawed toys in the town for the kids. Right. Such a good movie. That's one. I love that one every year. Number 5, I have any adaptation of A Christmas Carol. I like the story Ebenezer Scrooge, the 3 ghosts, past, present, and future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any iteration of that, of A Christmas Carol, whether it's the Disney or a movie version. Last year we sat down, we watched one from 1930.
Whoa.
It was like an old 1930 black and white Christmas Carol, and in that one, like Ebenezer Scrooge, when they go to his grave, when they push him into the grave, he actually falls into hell. And you see all these demons and just it gets real dark. And that was like 1930s. But like, any adaptation of A Christmas Carol. I just like that story. Tiny Tim, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I like all the lingo. I got 15 shillings in my pocket, mister. Like, I just I love the lingo. I think it's hilarious. Number 4, Die Hard. We watch that every year. Usually a week before Christmas, we watch Die Hard. Andrea's favorite movie, Christmas movie. Number 3, Scrooged, Bill Murray.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the Christmas Carol story, but it's Bill Murray. He's like a pompous TV exec. You know what I mean? And he ruins everybody's Christmas by making everybody come in and basically do a Christmas Carol like live on TV. And he's like an a-hole about it, and he gets Scrooged over pretty much. Scrooge. Number 2, Gremlins. We've watched that every Christmas since Griff was a kid, because that's always his favorite Christmas movie. He makes us watch that, like Andrea makes us watch Die Hard. We all sit down and watch that. And number 1 is the one I make everybody sit down every year and watch. And it's actually, I have 2 for my number 1 because I could not decide. I feel like my golden pick, Emmett Otter, Jug Band Christmas. That's the one I make all of us sit down and watch it. And then I'll watch it again 2 or 3 times by myself, just because we have the DVD with all the bonus features. It's so good.
Story.
As soon as we talked about making a Christmas list of our favorite movies, I knew that was going to be number 1.
Yeah.
It does share a spot in my Christmas list and in my heart with The Ref. You ever seen The Ref? Dennis Leary, Kevin Spacey, Judy Gold. You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen that.
No. We watch that with Jay and Becca every year. Jay, Andrea, and I, since for the past 20 years, we've watched it and we've incorporated Becca into it. The Ref, Dennis Leary.
Yeah.
He's a home burglar who's breaking into like rich people's houses. And he breaks in and he actually kidnaps or holds hostage Kevin Spacey and his wife. And it's like it's a whole dysfunctional family shows up at Christmas.
Oh my God.
And he's hiding out because the cops are looking for the person breaking into the houses.
Okay.
And so he basically takes them hostage and hides out in this house. But then the whole family shows up for Christmas.
Oh, hell.
They play it off like he's a marriage counselor.
Yeah.
And so he's there to like, you know what I mean? And the whole time he has like a gun in his pocket. So he's going to shoot Kevin Spacey if anything jumps off. And again, much like family showing up, there's just dysfunctional.
Yeah.
It's just, it's hilarious. The Ref. I recommend watching it anytime you can.
Awesome.
So.
Good times.
Anything else? Anybody got any other honorable mentions or anything that they didn't put on their list, but they enjoy watching?
Ernest Saves Christmas.
Ernest Saves Christmas. I like Christmas-themed movies in general.
I was going to say probably any of the, like, National Lampoons.
I wanted to put National Lampoons on my list. I wanted to put Christmas Story on my list.
Yeah.
But those I watch every year because generally it's on somewhere that I'm at. Those get shown a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else they want to add about Christmas?
No, I'm good. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
So, all right. Hopefully Ron will be back for our next episode. Brandon, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, thanks.
Of course.
Singer of Crop Circles, the band. Look for him wherever your social media takes you. All right. With that being said, on behalf of Ron motherfucking Jones, who couldn't be here, and myself, I'd like to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Looking forward to 2023.
Yes, 2023, and stay tuned for a possible new format.
We will be having a new format to the show in 2023, and I do want to put on here to our listeners and our members, if you would like to participate in next year's format, we will have a guest spot on every episode that can be filled by a listener.
Yes.
So if you're interested in becoming a mystery guest on next year's episodes, and it's going to be similar to Jeff and Ron, it's just going to be a slight difference. It'd be basically if you were a guest on this episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like that. So if you're interested in it, write to us at feelthejenergy@gmail.com and put Jeff and Ron in the subject line and let us know that you're interested in being a guest, or you know somebody who is interested in being a guest.
Yes.
So, all right,
awesome.
Brandon, thanks for filling in for Papa. Jen, thanks for joining us per usual.
Yeah, good times.
Good times. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You know what I like?